We crash it. We don't care about the damage. We care about the people. Our testing exceeds the government standards. Ford has more five-star rated vehicles than any other car manufacturer. We go that extra mile to make sure our cars are safe. I'm proud of that. We crash it. We don't care about the damage. We care about the people. We don't care about the damage. We care about the people.
So they don't care about the damage. They care about the people, right? But this car, this car is totaled at 40 miles per hour. 40 miles per hour, guys. That's a fast parking lot speed. You simply did not see the building coming. Why do they make these cars so fragile, so crushable?
Is it safer?
All right, so it's because of safety, right? So how does making a car this fragile make it safer? What's the advantage of it? There's got to be an advantage.
We don't care about.
And why not make cars indestructible the way they used to up until late 1950s?
We care.
All right, so yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's preferable because the object that's inside of the car, when the car would stop, the object would keep moving. Isn't that due to like inertia? Because they were both moving in the same speed, and one changed acceleration in the opposite direction. So while the car crashes, the car and the body are still able to move forward and give a little bit more like gradual slowdown instead of just like an instantaneous snap back while you're still moving forward.
All right, Jesus, I'm going to give you 5 points for that explanation. All right, so obviously it's safety, right? So how does that make it safe? Having a car crumple or crush, how does that make it safe? Well, it makes it safe because acceleration is what kills, what breaks your bones. As far as accelerations are concerned, you know you can survive up to 70-12 Gs for a few minutes. All right, so it's possible to survive up to 70-12 Gs. Speaking of acceleration, here's what happens to your body. When a car accelerates in the forward direction, your body's going to move in the opposite direction of the acceleration. You put the brakes on. Now your body moves forward when the acceleration is in the backward direction. And then you notice that the unstrapped objects will always accelerate. Unstrapped objects will always move in the opposite direction of the acceleration of the vehicle. So we discussed that. Except when you're inside a centrifuge, when you're exposed to about 7 G, you're not speeding up, you're not slowing down, but you're changing direction, right? So changing direction, how fast you change direction, that also accelerates. All right, so let's get back to the way we look at acceleration. So pendulum, when the car accelerates in the forward direction, it's going to move backward. When the car is accelerating in the backward direction, the pendulum moves forward. And in circular motion, perhaps the pendulum is going to move away from the center of the circle, meaning that the acceleration is going to be directed towards the center. So now we have a complete definition of acceleration. That's how fast you speed up, how fast you slow down, and how fast you change direction. How fast the velocity changes in time. Speeding up, slowing down, changing direction. Speeding up, slowing down, changing direction. Is going to change velocity. So it's how fast the velocity changes in time. So that's the definition. We'll express acceleration in terms of your own body weight. So your own body weight is the same as 1 G, for example. Being exposed to 7 G simply means you're feeling 7 times heavier. Or you will feel a push in the opposite direction of the acceleration of the vehicle, expressed in terms of your body weight. Now, acceleration is always going to point in the direction of the larger of the two velocities. Right? If it's to the right, in this case, car is speeding up. So positive acceleration means speeding up. And negative acceleration means slowing down. So you can have positive acceleration or you can have negative acceleration. Positive in this case is speeding up, the negative is slowing down. All right.
1950s, years before.
So 70-12 Gs, up to a few minutes, are survivable. Car companies wanted to know if you could survive 20 Gs, 30 Gs, 40 Gs, 50 Gs. What is the maximum that you could be exposed to and still be able to survive? So how do you figure that out? By testing, of course.
For the Pinto or Corvair, little was known about the essence of a collision, how much force the driver could withstand. To find out, a seemingly lunatic experiment was carried out in the New Mexico desert by the U.S. Air Force in 1954. Scientist John Stapp strapped himself onto a rocket sled to boldly go where no man had gone before.
He started the countdown.
10, 9.
Adrenaline comes in and the heart begins to beat a little faster. Then just as he reaches 0, you get this enormous ram against your back and feel totally helpless. You're being given the biggest kick that could be delivered.
Stapp had been propelled at a speed of 632 miles per hour and stopped in 1.4 seconds.
All right, guys, 632 miles per hour. It was brought to a stop within 1.4 seconds. 632 miles per hour. 632 miles per hour. How fast is that? Commercial airliners move at 550 miles per hour. This guy was already moving 30 miles per hour faster. No, 80 miles per hour faster than a commercial airline. It was brought to a stop within 1.4 seconds. At 1.4 seconds. Now imagine that you're on this airliner, doing whatever it is that you guys do, going at 632 miles per hour, and you're brought to a stop within 1.4 seconds. What would that feel like? So that's what the car companies wanted to find out. All right, so I've done the calculations for you already. So he's already moving at 632 miles per hour. All right, so this is his speed, and he was brought to a stop within 1.4 seconds. So what is his acceleration expressed in terms of G? All right, so here's the formula. This is the formula. His final speed is going to be 0. And then you run the numbers, and you end up getting 20 Gs. All right, so you end up getting 20 Gs. It's negative, meaning that he's actually slowing down. So the question is it survivable? Can you survive 20 Gs? Let's check to see what happens.
No one has ever undergone such a test before or since.
I couldn't see anything, and I was looking around, and
While he's alive,
I was
he did survive 20 Gs.
beginning to think about seeing-eyed dogs and white canes.
Well, he couldn't see anything because his retinas got detached. Is that a big deal? Not really, guys. If your retinas get detached, just push him back in, check to see if that works. If it doesn't, they'll take you to a hospital. And if you don't recover, there's usually a surgery awaiting you. Happens to boxers sometimes.
And I was thinking to myself, now I've paid my dues. I've gotten there. I've shown them what they want to know. And from now on, life is going to...
No one knew whether he was going to die or survive. Why would you volunteer for something? They advertised, no one was interested. John Staff, this guy's a medical doctor, he was in charge of the experiment. He conducted some experiment using animals, cats, dogs, rabbits, whatnot. They were fine. He figured that he was going to be fine as well. So he did survive up to 20 Gs for 1.4 seconds. 1.4 seconds, so that's survival. And that, he kept doing the experiment time and time again, only to realize that, yeah, you can actually go up to 25 Gs easily without sustaining any injuries. After 25 Gs, you start to have problems. Smaller bones in your body will start to break. So between 20 and 25 Gs, up to a few seconds, you should be able to survive. So these are big numbers. So 7 to 12 Gs, up to a few minutes. Based on pilot training in a centrifuge. And job step experiment proves that you can survive between 20 to 25 Gs up to a few seconds.